I'm just going to play a handful of games in this Chess960 Shield Arena. This is 3 minutes plus 2-second increments. So you have to remember to think of it more like a 5-minute game than a 3-minute game, but I'll just play a handful of games and just see how we get on. Alright, this rook has to move and we can castle kingside. I'll open with e4, maybe put a knight there, maybe pawn up to support the pawn. Okay, knight up. Another knight up. He comes in, so there's an obvious threat. So just cover the check threat. Okay, well I can take the pawn now, I guess. So why not? He can take my pawn, of course. Then maybe castle. Looks logical. So get that done. I wonder if there's some weird sacrifices playable here. So I can go up, hit the knight, he takes. Don't like the look of that. Now let's just drop back. Now we'll try and unwind a little bit. Okay, so I'm looking at bishop up to try and get developed and hit the queen with tempo. He comes up, so he's hitting the pawn. There isn't an immediate mate threat. But I think I have to play over and then ideally bishop up to hit the queen. So bishop up, lose a knight, gain a queen, lose a bishop to check, no good. Yeah, I'm just lost, aren't I? Just lost. Played this shockingly. Terrible. There's no way to avoid mate, I don't think. No, I can't see it. Just give him that one. Well done. That has got to be the worst game of Chess960 I have ever played, and hopefully ever will play. I see some strong title players in this. What's that, a GM and 3 IMs? Right, let's hope we do better next game. 1565, good luck. Now this is the king side. So I'll probably open up with knight up so I can castle. The queen could be awkward to get into play. And pawn up, of course, to pressure my opponent's queen is the other move. So I'll play knight up. Actually, I'm tempted to go 2 squares instead of 1. Let's go 2 instead of 1. Just try and pinch a bit of space. Okay, I'll castle. Well, let's go up so I can line up this potentially. Okay. I'm actually going to try and bring the queen out a bit more slowly. Whether it's right or wrong, I've no idea. Okay. Let's just develop the bishop. He plays bishop out wide, so I guess that, sorry, queen out wide. So I'll drop the bishop back, hit the queen, cover the rook. I'm tempted to drop the knight back here and try and launch a pawn. Just see if I can open things up a little bit. Again, pre-move in case he captures a pawn. He pushes forward, so I think I can take here. He can't now take there with a pin on the rook. Oh, he's gone for a sack. Ambitious. Okay, I'll take him up on it. I think I've got bishop up. Am I missing something? Take with the knight if he takes, or try and chase the bishop away if he doesn't. Then maybe I can take pawn. He comes forward. Okay, so I'll take a pawn. So now I've got rook up to hit the bishop. Anything better? I've got bishop up. I've got bishop up to tempt f4, but I don't know I want to tempt f4 or not. I'm going to just hit the bishop, I think. So he comes up. Not easy. Yeah, I think I want knight over. My bishop supports the rook in case he advances. The discovery isn't an automatic win there. But I want the knight mounting over. Target these squares. The rook can obviously drop back if it has to. He plays across, so knight up doesn't quite work. Bishop up can hit the rook now, I suppose. Actually, I'm going to drop back there and hit the bishop. So he does come forward. So take, take, take. I'm going to take there. If he takes the rook, I take with the bishop, hitting the queen. He doesn't, so I'll grab the pawn. Now hit the knight. Then obviously potentially grab another pawn. Knight goes back. Okay, so I guess grab the pawn and try and put a knight forward. I know I can definitely go f5. It's a little risky with this, but... Right, break the pin immediately so the knight can at least move if it has to. He's still quite active, isn't he? He's got an active position. Yeah, I better take the knight forward so I can try and help this knight up. My queen is just doing nothing really here. Okay, well now can I go? Bishop takes, knight takes, that looks good. I'm aware there is a knight check there, I am aware that, I have seen it. And of course, pawn up as well to potentially release the queen at some point in time might be useful. Plays rook over. Okay. No, I'm going to take the bishop first. And then I'm going to try and push the pawn and release the queen. Right, takes with the queen. Okay, so I'll connect the two knights and hit the rook. Just try and remember not to drop this rook. And I want to push the pawn, but purpose is to try and just get the queen active somewhere. Plays knight over, so I can take it with a check. I can take the rook though, that must be the right move. So I'm hitting the queen, then I'm going to take the knight next move. What? He's just not noticed it, has he? He's just missed it. So... Okay, let's just expand and make sure the queen gets out somewhere. He just resigns, but he played okay for his rating, not too bad, well done. It's so easy to go wrong, it really is so easy to go wrong. Right, 1391, good luck. You can actually castle immediately there because king and rook are next to each other on the king's side. So I'll just develop a knight while I try and work out what to do. So he plays up a cautious start, so I'll put a pawn forward, bishop up, put another pawn forward then, free move in case he takes. It's not so vital to pre-move, of course, when you have increments. I think I'll just play the natural move to guard against the knight, even though the bishop is there. I was aware of that. Well, let's play bishop up actually, and maybe target his bishop. Okay, logical. Just get castling out of the way. So hit the knight. I'll take the knight if I get a chance there. So now I'll try and challenge for the space. Bishop up. Now, do I want to be adventurous and sack a pawn? Let's launch a pawn forward there. I'm taking a real risk here. Okay, let's take. Pressure on the knight. He had bishop takes, he'd hit the rook, but I'm taking a risk. There's no immediate threat, I don't think, so let's just see what he plays. Drops the knight back, logical. I think I'm going to bring the bishop over to make sure the pawn is protected, and then try and develop a knight somewhere. One or the other. Okay, maybe I can push. I think I'll develop the knight and try and bring it across the board. Yeah, maybe knight forward actually might have been a better square here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's a great move or not, but I'm going to still bring the knight across where I planned. So again, more support for the pawn. The queen can wander off easier now. He does castle. So I'll put this knight forward. He steps across to make sure there's no check, logical. Okay, so develop a rook, preparing to push. But I think now's the time. What do I take with if he takes though? If I take with a pawn, I'm kicking his knight away. If he takes the bishop, I'm covering it with my knight. He does take. I'm going to take it with the pawn, get it advanced to further square, hit the knight. So he takes, so I could take the knight instead of the bishop. Then I'm hitting the... Yeah, I'm hitting the bishop now, but I'm also hitting the pawn as well. I keep forgetting players in this game are very obviously often underrated the Chess960 rating. He's a 1600 player. So in Blitz he's stronger than what his rating suggests there. Oh, he pushes up, so he's forgotten about his bishop. Or he thought it was a bigger priority there. So I'll just take the knight. So now I can probably go forward, maybe rook up and try and double the rooks. Just keep pressure on the pawn. Maybe the knight can go up and I can target the king side. But it's got to be right to double the rooks. Again, maybe I can play slowly, make sure there's no silly back rank issue. But I like the idea of knight forward here. So I'm threatening to take a pawn, but this is the pawn I really want, with queen across. Actually, let's think about that. If I take with a knight, I've got a check, but no, I'm going to play queen across, just go straight over. He advances, so now I can bring the queen in, threatening to take. There's no easy way for black to defend here. Okay, that'll be checkmate. Okay, thank you for the game. Right, I'll play another game, maybe another couple of games. That's how the leaders are getting on. Very long event though, it's a 6-hour tournament, this one. Okay, 1836. He's actually a 2200 player, see, 21, 2200, that sort of level. So, be a very strong player here. Now the king side is on the left hand side as I look. Okay, that's a logical start. I think I'll play pawn forward and try and bring the knight up. Okay, potentially releasing my bishop here. I want the knight here. I'll worry about this bishop once I've castled. Just play pawn forward, so I'll stick to my plan, knight up. And I think I'm going to aim to just develop the bishop and take with the knight if he takes. Okay, so bishop up. It's tempting to take with a pawn there, but I think I'd rather just develop the knight. Okay, he decides to close it, so I'll get my castling done. Right, so now I'm going to look to try and break out. Pretty sure he's going to castle king side, that's the logical side. Again, is it worth sacking a pawn to get rid of the bishop, give up knight and pawn for bishop? It's always a debate. And here, of course, I'm just trying to mess the position up a little bit. Alright, so now I'm going to offer that. Just to create a slight imbalance. Of course, if he was to castle straight away, there would be a knight check, so I don't think he'll do that. He's doing the right thing clockwise, so maybe I'm playing a bit too quick here, because you do have increments, you don't need to play maybe as quickly as what I'm doing. Knight up, so I guess I can bring the other knight out now. Just knight over, knight across, so it's a logical move as well. Right, so I'll drop the knight back now. See, I'm going to have to push this pawn at some point to release the bishop, otherwise there's no point having it. So he's looking at the same thing there. So I'll just step the rook across. So up, check, king over. See, I think that check doesn't do anything if he comes forward. Okay, I can go up, but I don't think there's much point. I'd rather put the bishop here than the king, I think. Now this is potentially dangerous, but I am able to take there. The knight will now cover my bishop with this diagonal open. So if he goes back, do I get really attacking with pawn forward? Or do I take the pawn? Wow, he goes for the sack. Okay. So take, he takes. Drop back, he takes another pawn. Yeah, I think it's kind of forced. So he'll grab another pawn, I guess. So it must make sense to take the bishop. So this square is covered by the knight, so the queen can't immediately come in. So hopefully I can get a rook across. The knight could be vulnerable to a diagonal, or Okay. So I guess bishop up here to hit the rook. Yeah, the bishop's no good where it is, so I'm going to target the rook. It stops the queen coming here as well, and there's also a hit there. I missed that. Maybe bishop takes. Oh, he's just not seen it. I hadn't noticed it my first as well until I moved the bishop. I was just targeting the rook. We just hadn't seen the discovery on the queen, so I could have played bishop takes the move before. Well, that turns out to be a good unexpected win. That could have been a real slog, that game. Oh, that player, that GM is the player who actually won the tournament last time. So as I've done, he's obviously late starting, but he's the current holder. That's what that symbol means next to his name there. And they're the leaders. Very impressive, that. Unbeaten after all them games. Obviously they're high rated players, but very impressive. Right, 1772. Again, he's actually a 2100 strength blitz bullet player. Now we can castle immediately because they're right next to each other. Let's try and gain some space and maybe get the bishop up. Okay, he does castle. I'll release my bishop as well. Right, bring the knight up. I've no idea if that's any good or not. Just pawn up. Right, he comes forward. So, knight across, because I've definitely got a couple of squares that can come back. Okay, he chases it back. So he's gaining lots and lots of space. He comes down. Okay, there's no harm in doing this. I'm just effectively castling manually if we go this way. Knight up, threatening to go in. Take with a king, not the rook. Okay. Knight in then, hit the two pieces. I guess he'll take now, but again I'll stop the queen with a check. So he comes up, so take the rook. So my gut feeling is to try and open this bit up a bit now. Again, if he takes, I want to take with a king. He's got a queen check. E5 I wouldn't think is any good with a discovery, so I'll just drop the king back, looks logical. Wow, he's really trying to blast it open. Okay, I'll take there. He goes with the rook. So I'll take there as well. If he goes with a bishop, I'll get rid of that. Okay. So where do I want my knight? I've got one of two squares. It's coming out to one of them. My gut feeling is to go forward rather than across, so let's go here. And of course I'd like the rook across with a pin on the queen and knight if he wanders off somewhere. But rook's not got a lot of options there. I'm covering this square as well. If he goes across, rook over, looks deadly. Just rook across, targeting there. You might have to go here. Oh, he takes. Wow. Did not expect that. So I can take the queen or pawn. Pawn must be right to stop the knight coming forward, so he's going to have to go across. So now it's tempting to launch h5. How do I get the queen off the board? Queen up, knight moves. I'm just going to put the queen in the middle of the board there. I'm not trying to get the knight. He's obviously going to bring the knight forward. But now I am going to try and press a bit. I want to get the other rook out into play. So I think king up, connect the rooks. Okay. Actually, again, just rook across, hit the queen and pressure the pawn. So grab a pawn. Okay, I've got to be really careful here. He's got no knight check now though, so I haven't dropped the queen. And I'm also hitting the knight as well. It's so easy to blunder, it really is. It's so easy to go wrong. Okay, so if I just go back to where I was. Oh, I should have gone here. Then if that knight moved, I'd have taken the other one. I'm allowing him to shift his knight now, aren't I? That's careless. So I guess I'll have to just play a rook over. Well, I'm going there anyway, trying to go for the back rank idea. So this knight has got no actual escape squares, so I can just drop the king in. So yeah, he just resigns, doesn't he? That's actually a very good win there. I'll pause there. Right, these are my results just from the Chess960 Shield Arena. I only played the 5 games. Very poor loss in the first game, so congrats to my opponent, he had a good win. And then I got 4 wins in a row. So my performance 1973, average opponent 1675, but a lot of these players are very underrated though, because not many people play Chess960 that often, so you tend to find most people tend to be underrated compared to their blitz, so very good.